Yo, what's going on, good people? Man, I wanted to hop on the video and talk to you about spending time valuably. I've had quite a 90 days, and if you know, you know. And I went out for a run with my friend. You might have saw me post about this a few days ago. I went out for a run with Jen and talked about a lot. And I've been reading a lot, and I'm not even going to get into all of that. He's been talking to me a lot. Like I've been telling my friends and just people I've been coming across about a lot. But I'm going to talk about one aspect today: spending time valuably. That is a bit of a culmination of many of it. And so I've been, I've had some very major life transitions happen over the last 90 days, and have spent a lot of time really meditating on my thoughts, reading on things about just really improving how I handle myself, how I move throughout the world, and how I view life, essentially. And I just finished Will Smith's autobiography last night, which was like a groundbreaking book. It was one of the few books that was like, whoa, this like was groundbreaking because it wasn't just autobiography. But one thing that I've been doing is, I've been doing therapy. I've been doing that for a while. I have a new therapist, and she's awesome. And so last week we're on, and she's asking me. So we were talking, and she's like, "How you doing?" And I just went, boom, 10 minutes. I'm fantastic. Just FYI, like I feel fantastic. I have so much more clarity. I feel like I've hit a very big growth spurt. I've figured out what's my relative rock bottom right now recently, and so like, yeah. So she's like, Donald, you get excited about all this stuff, and I can tell when something really excites you versus when it brings you down. She's like, what's a 10 out of 10 experience for you? Now, thought about 10 out of 10, and was like, you know, I had to sit down and stop, and I thought about some of the experiences I had in life that were like, yo, this was like a 10, right? And there were some very interesting things that made that list. And then she asked me, can you manufacture a 10? Oh, she asked me then, well, actually, what does a 10 feel like? And I think, I ended up writing all this out, journaling this all out. And it was like, it's this euphoric feeling like I'm floating, like time is stopped, like I'm just literally floating. I can do no wrong in these moments. Like everything is just like pure joy. And even some of these moments is like, I feel like I almost need a cigarette. I've never smoked one in my life, but it makes me feel like I need one. So, you know, conversation goes on. And I was thinking about this all day. And so I went and journal about this. Now, for a long time, if you talk to me a lot, I have this theory, right? Well, not theory, it's a philosophy of living. That if you can go throughout your whole life and that your days average out to be 7 out of 10s, you've lived a good life. Now, so whatever 7 out of 10 is relative, it's whatever you make of it, right? But that's something that I firmly, hold a belief in. If it's a couple notches above the above just five, and then 10 is like not that far away, right? So I have this whole thing about living at 7 out of 10, right? And I rank my days. This day was a 10. This day was a 7. This day was a 6. This day was a 8. This day was a 5. This day was like a 3, and yeah. So I want to challenge you in the sense about thinking about how to spend your time valuably, right? Because when I wrote this all out, I literally wrote down experiences and feelings that go from 10 out of 10s to 1 out of 10s, right? And it wasn't hard. I had to deliberate certain what's a four versus a three, but it's relative to me, and these are things that I've loosely thought about, and so when you write it out in kind of freehand, you start realizing, oh, this is like up there, and this is like, these are some of the worst experiences of my life. So I'll give you a few examples, all right? And I want you to think about this in the context of yourself. So some 10 out of 10s for me. Like I said, some of this stuff was interesting for me. I'll start with the big one, that people were like, whoa, feeding a hyena in Ethiopia. Feeding a hyena was a 10 out of 10 experience. It was like, I'm face to face with death right now, and like I just fed this animal that could kill me in a country that, if I died where I was at in Harar, I think it would have got back because I did book the place to, I think I booked it to Airbnb. I don't know if that I booked it through Airbnb. I think I just called. So I don't even know if like my documents were up to date where I was staying at over there in Harar. Like I had some friends over there who might have looked me up, but like there's a chance that if I'd have got eaten by a hyena, like I didn't have my passport, so I think people would have got notified, but the risk was there, right? Um, that 4x4x48 I did with Marcel, especially the Saturday or the Sunday morning at 3 a.m. run. That was one of the most euphoric feelings in my life to like complete that. Because that is like, oh, my body's capable of this, right? Um, Finishing the Three Body Problem book, that book, I dreamed about that book. My friend Yo, she wrote me a scrapbook when I finished college, and she had all these people from the school say all these nice things. I still look at that book. That was such a big thing for me. Like, wow, you like, really thought to do this. My friends came down for graduation in Texas. Those were a few. I wrote down 16 of them actually. So then I was like, all right, well, like, what are the feelings of that? It's like, or the day of a 10 out of 10 is like a bunch of things that are like going my way. It's usually like a bunch of 9 experiences and things that are just rolling on all cylinders. I'm like, yo, this day was a 10. So a 10, these are 10 experiences. And I was like, all right, well, what's 9? 9 is public speaking. Like, as you know, I like to talk. We're on here for 6.5 minutes already. So I like being in front of groups presenting. I love leading teams. I love being the center of attention when it comes to me being a person of expertise. I love it. I love helping. I love seeing people's like light bulbs go off. Like, ooh, like, when I'm working with big teams on running mechanics or strength training, like, it's great. Being at track meets, like, I love it. Solo travel out of the country, like, oh, I didn't realize these things. It's like eight's more like the same thing, but with small groups. So, like, I love having deep conversations with the people, especially in the sense where I'm, like, helping educate somebody or helping lead somebody somewhere. Totally like a 9. I'm sorry, 8. Dominating physically, an 8. Um, and 7, so it's like, all right, let's get to 7, right? And then I'll kind of drop down below. I'm going to skip a few numbers. 7, I realized 7 is a lot of stuff that's in my control. Like, 7 was, getting outside every day, doing some sort of exercise, having meaningful conversation with people, checking off my to-do list. Um, some other things that were on 7 were like being outside, like coaching on the track, which like sometimes it's even an 8 depending on the situation, but like being out there coaching, being with like my family, my friends, especially like my nieces, nephews, and my siblings. Great. I was like, what's a 5, right? What's a 5? Fives or days I just feel like I just like existed today. Nothing really went bad, nothing went good. I was a little bit productive, but I was very distracted. Fives were like emotionless to me. So then I was like, well, 4, right? And really, everything under 5 usually involves drama. I hate drama. It like literally brings me to the brink of anxiety and depression. I cannot stand dramatic situations. I can't stand dramatic people. And so a lot of these 4s, and some of them were also like bad habits, like going to bed too late. If I don't exercise for like four days, like it starts to bring me down. If I am eating poorly for too long, like not enough fruits and vegetables, not enough plants in general, too many sweets, like those are like experiences of 4s. Going to bed too late, I think I said that already. Being very distracted, I have for me this big North Star, this thing that I go after in life. And things in my life that pull me away from where I'm trying to go are like 4s for me. So when, personal or familial or just the random things that pop up in life that are like solving those problems involves me having to completely step away from where I'm going after in life, totally 4s. 3s, anxiety. 2s, get to depression. And, as a lot of you know, I was a foster kid. So a lot of these foster care experiences check out in these like 2s and 3s. A lot of situations that, I'm not going to get into here. Situations that happen poorly in romantic situations. There was some things I was dealing with recently that like I haven't experienced the one since I was a teenager, and I recently experienced ones where like there were certain spats and arguments and gaslighting and things that were happening that like, I've never like passed out at work. Like I was like somebody left the gym and I went in the bathroom and passed out, and then later passed out later that day. Like from that kind of stress. Oh, um, it also brought the timeline of life for me in perspective because like you had a great stretch from like 2011 to 2020, and then but like getting through fifth through 11th grade was the hardest time of my life. And then last year I had one of the best years of my life, but like it was the hardest year of my life emotionally due to some things that some of you already know about. Um, that's my timer because I need to get off of here. So I want you to think about these things in your life, right? I want you to do this experiment. What's a 10 out of 10 for you? What's a 7, right? I mean, that's my philosophy about having a 7. What's a 7? What's a 5? What's a 2? You know, and then with that, knowing that, in order to go back to the spending time valuably, how can you use that listing and that organization to be able to spend your time more valuably? Because like for me now, I know what activities are 7s and 8s for me. I know what activities are 9s. And if I have a high frequency of 7s and 8s, well then 9s and 10s are around the corner. I'm a very achievement based person, so like, there's always a milestone coming, right? So if I'm doing a lot of 7 and 8s, which inherently make me feel good, but then also lead me to these, further achievements, and there's always going to be 9s and 10s coming up, right? If I'm always doing things in the 4 or 3 range, or always around people who make me feel that way, then that's going to bring me down there to where the instances of 1s and 2s happen a lot. And also, 1s are like those traumatic experiences that I feel like, you can't stop, like death of somebody, some wild diagnosis, some rare disease that like completely throws you off. Getting wrong place at the wrong time, and you didn't have a lot of control over it. I feel like 1s and 2s and 3s are like drama that other people brought me into and I can't really avoid. Versus like 4s, it's like, I could walk away from this, but I chose not to because, being a dick, whatever. So, something to think about, right? And then doing the activities that like bring you value, because as you do this experiment, I want you to see, are the activities of 7 and 8, 6, 7, and 8, are they valuable to you? And how do you orchestrate your life about being able to spend more time doing those valuable activities? And how do you orchestrate your life to not deal with people and activities and habits that bring you down into that 432 range, to where I feel like wherever number you generally are at, you find more experiences around that number. If you're somebody who's always doing 4 activities, 4 out of 10 activities, 3 out of 10 activities, and you're constantly in that state of mind, then life only begets you more of that. Whereas if you are at a 7 and 8, life begets you more of that. So I want you to take that inventory of yourself. Shoot me a line. We could talk about it. I'm very willing to be pretty open about some of the stuff that's on my list because I found it personally very interesting. I think you will find it personally very interesting and enlightening. And I love sharing these ideas. So I got to go train somebody. You stay well. Holler at me.